Dark Water Light Publishing presents The Motorcycle and the Molecule, Misadventures in Community, written and narrated by Dougie Lux. Prologue. The sun set on the autumnal equinox as great Jaguar Paw, divine ruler of Tikal, gazed down upon his city from the Temple of the Moon. "God damn, times are good," he said to himself, smiling. While historians and scholars might argue about what great Jaguar Paw actually said to himself, whatever it was probably something along those lines. After all, he was Chak-Tok-Ichak I, the great Mayan king, imbued with the power to communicate with the gods themselves, so humility wasn't really that necessary. What was necessary was looking absolutely divine as he postured from atop the immense temple in front of his humble denizens. The gleaming Mayan city of Tikal, hewn from the jungle itself, protruded high above the tree canopy. Tikal stood as a testament to great Jaguar Paw's power and influence, an undeniably phallic statement of man's will thrust upon nature. An assortment of temples, palaces, and ball courts lay spread out across his field of view, each assembled by generation after generation of devotees. For centuries, countless humans had spent their lifetimes hauling seemingly inexhaustible amounts of limestone from Tikal's distant quarries, assembling them into structures that would challenge time itself. Like the rulers before him, great Jaguar Paw had leveraged his divine power over the people to manifest his dreams into reality. And why not? He was their direct connection to a greater realm, born and raised for this role, to assert his dominance upon the world. By continuing the work of his predecessors, great Jaguar Paw had continued to transform the land from untamed jungle into a vast expanse of paved limestone, studded with monolithic structures and neatly manicured farmland beyond. His noble leadership directed the focus of an entire people toward a unified vision, ensuring the growth of his empire and his continued attainment of power and glory. This was his divine right, and his people were grateful for his leadership. Without him, nature would be an inhospitable force and society would have no direction. The people would be forced to fend for themselves alone in a harsh world full of suffering and emotionally unpredictable deities. Instead, great Jaguar Paw gave them purpose, he gave them security, and the people praised him for it. For indeed, their labor, their structures, and their artwork were more than just a gift to a king, but a requirement that the gods themselves demanded. "Ah yes," great Jaguar Paw spoke into the breeze, "what better way could there be to spend a life?" And so it had mostly been for thousands of years. Food was plentiful, water was abundant, and the weather was downright delightful. Neighboring cities, some of formidable size, were either supportive of mutual trade or at least mostly tolerant toward each other. Skirmishes still broke out, but besides the occasional kidnapping and public sacrifice, there was more than enough space and plenty of resources for all to coexist. Times were indeed pretty damn good for great Jaguar Paw and the Mayan people. But then, of course, nothing lasts forever. Act 1, The Guatemala Part. Chapter 1, Downfall at Tikal, Part 1. "Humans are ridiculous," I laughed to myself in the rain. This wasn't just your ordinary rain, either. This was the sort of tropical downpour that drenches the earth, and the severe humidity was making it that much more intense. The inside of my cheap plastic poncho had become my own personal steam room. But despite that, and despite the drips of perspiration seeping down my back into my already soaked underwear, I couldn't help but smile at the scene in front of me. I laughed to myself again. A woman standing across from me shot me a glance. Had I actually laughed out loud this time? It was hard to tell in my current state. I was, after all, for the next few hours at least, psychologically impaired. But it didn't really matter anyway. She didn't know me. In fact, none of the other 20 tourists on the tour knew me. So as far as any of them might know, I might just be the kind of guy who laughs at the downfall of a civilization. But I wasn't laughing at the downfall of the Maya. I was laughing at something darker, more subtle, that was emerging from just below the surface of this whole jolly escapade. Rodrigo, our stout, dark-skinned tour guide, was standing in the rain, enlightening us with stories of the Maya. "So if you can imagine, even these pathways that connect the buildings were paved with limestone. Most of the temples are solid limestone too. Early looters used dynamite and heavy machinery to try to get inside them, but they just found more rock. The sheer amount of effort it took to build this city is staggering. They didn't have beasts of burden. They didn't even have the wheel, but they had lots of manpower." Rodrigo then
Sample complete. Ready to continue?